Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I'm here to talk about all of the 5 stars I have given out this year. So we're a little over halfway through the year. We have a little bit more to go, and I always like looking back, especially, I've done the mid-year book freak out tag, tier ranking of all the books I've read so far this year. It's always good to kind of take a step back and look at your progress this year. And this year has been iffy for me on reading, and that's for multiple reasons. I've told you guys I have a lot of family, like health stuff going on with my in-laws and my own family and things like that. And that's really taking a hit on my reading and my personal life, understandably so. So I haven't been reading as much as I want to, nor have I found like a ton of 5 stars, but I have like, I want to say like 5 or 6, maybe 7, we're gonna figure it out together, books that I've really loved this year that I want to talk about. Maybe I'll have 5 more by the end of the year. Who knows? We have half the year left to go. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about all the 5 stars I've read so far this year. My very first one I gave out was First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. This was a surprise for me. This is very much like the show Alias. If you love Alias with Jennifer Garner, I think you'll really enjoy this book. This book is also like, you have to suspend your disbelief. So it's about a character named Evie, or is her name Evie? She's basically, what would you call her? She's, she just has different identities, if you will, like alias. She's different aliases. And she gets jobs. And this job, she's assigned to be Evie, and she's meant to be in a relationship with this guy and figure out secrets about him. In this whole book, you learn about her past, also with her relationship or her job that she's in right now, and whether or not she feels for him. And it's just a fun mystery thriller, and I loved it. It was good. I gave it a 5 out of 5. It was good. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I obviously really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of my favorite reads of the year. We'll have to see if it really ekes out words on my top 10 this year. I have to just wait and see for that, because there could be a lot more books that I love. This one I did really enjoy, and it was a fun mystery thriller, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Then we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Oh my goodness. I was so excited for this one, and also very apprehensive, because if you don't know, like most, I think, people love vampires. I have had this affinity for vampires ever since Buffy. Most people always say Twilight. For me, it's Buffy, and Buffy always. I always gravitate towards anything vampires, because I'm always like, Buffy, Angel, Spike, Buffy, it's just that same feeling. And sometimes they have really steered me in the right direction, sometimes they haven't. Bride steered me in the right direction. I really, really love this one. So this book, we follow a character named Misery, who is a vampire. And that's right, her name's Misery. And we have this world, if you will, where vampires and werewolves and humans all don't get along, but they all kind of barter with marriages to kind of have treaties. So she gets married to a werewolf, like a pack leader named Lo, and so they have a very tumultuous relationship. She's in werewolf country now. She doesn't know what to do, and eventually things start happening with her and Lo, and it's just adorable, also steamy, also just very kind of alpha fan fiction-y, if you will, which I was not expecting, but I really enjoyed. I had a great time with it. Dare I say, this is my favorite Ali Hazelwood book by far. She has to make this into a series. She has to, especially as she ended it. But I'd say if you want a good vampire werewolf steamy book, Bride will not steer you wrong. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, honestly. So we have another romance, and that is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is actually the sequel to the book When in Rome, which I read last year, didn't really love. However, loved and adored Practice Makes Perfect. So this book follows Annie, who is Noah, who is our main character, this one's sister. And we also follow Will, who is, crap, I forget her name, Amelia's bodyguard. And so basically Annie is a florist. She owns this floral shop, and she wants what her parents had, this beautiful lasting romance and a beautiful family and things like that, and she just can't really find it, and she wants to learn about it. So she enlists Will, who is Amelia's bodyguard, to help her, to train her with dating, because she really has no clue what she does. And you can obviously connect the dots and see where it's going, but it was just so sugary sweet. It was like cotton candy wrapped in delicious other candy that I can't think of, but it was just so adorable. If you don't know, Sarah Adams writes clean romances, closed doors. So in case you're not one of the fan of like steamy books, if you just want a cute, adorable romance one, I really recommend Sarah Adams. This has been my favorite of hers that I've read so far. It was just oh so adorable. Small town, a bad boy, good girl. It was just adorable. Like, I just want to eat this up, even though, it's obviously not edible. And then it was, I forget what month in particular, I want to say it was April. April was a very good reading month to me because I read 3 5-stars. Number 1, Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. I read this one because everyone was talking about it, and the cover is like a freaking Monet painting with all like this beautiful watercolor trees. I love this one. This is about an accidental pregnancy, which I don't love that trope really at all, but this one just did it right. We follow Eve, who is, you know, she's not doing horrible with her life, but she's not doing the best. And then she hooks up this guy at the bar, and surprise, surprise, she is pregnant. And they really don't have any sort of relationship, nor does she want one, but she's feeling very alone in this pregnancy. She turns to her best friend Willa for help, but Willa is married and is trying to conceive, and it's hard. It is so hard on both ends with that, as a person that is pregnant and then as a person who's trying to conceive, and hearing about your friend that's pregnant. It's like you want to be happy for them, but you can't, but you know you should be. I have been on that side. Like I had a lot of fertility issues before I had my first child, where I had 3 miscarriages. I had to have many workups done. I had to have surgery. I didn't, thankfully, had to have like IVF or other ones, which I know a lot of women have, and it's turned out great for them, but it's a process and it's hard, and it's so hard. So my heart goes out to every one of them. But when you're on that side and you hear somebody gets pregnant like super easily, you're like happy, but you're also like, I freaking kind of hate you. And it's just a hard balance. And so Willa is not there for Evie. Willa's not there for Eve as much as she wants to be, because she's trying to go through her own feelings. So who should turn up but Shep, who is Willa's older brother. And Shep is kind of always harbored a crush on Eve. You can see where this is going. They become friends, maybe something more. And it's just a beautiful book. It says a surprise pregnancy leads to even more life-changing revelations and this heartfelt, slow burn, friends to lovers romance. And it's exactly that. It was super cute, super adorable, perfect spring read, even though spring's over, but it was just adorable. Like, which was the punch in the gut book, and it is my favorite book of the year thus far, and that is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And I love her. I'm so glad she's now getting the hype she deserves, because she is amazing. This book is the latest, this book is her latest one and is my favorite. It's finally been dethroned. Like, my Happily Ever After playlist by her has been dethroned, which makes me happy but also sad. So in this book we follow 2 characters, Emma and Justin, and they meet on a Reddit forum because they both think that they're cursed, because every time they date somebody, whenever they break up, the person that they dated goes off to find the love of their life, and they're just left there sitting in the dust. They're like, hey, here's an idea. Why don't we date, and then it'll cancel our curse. We'll cancel out each other, and then we could find love of our lives. You know, you can clearly see where the plot is going, but this book is so much more than that. It's about a lot of trauma. Justin is going through a lot of trauma because his mom is going to jail, so he is now going to have sole custody of his 3 younger siblings, and he is like in his 30s, and he never thought that was going to happen. He wasn't prepared for this. And then we also have Emma has a very tumultuous childhood, where her mom would just come in and out. She would be in foster home, then her mom would come home, and her mom just shows up whenever she wants. And Emma has really not dealt with that trauma really at all. And now Emma's mom shows up again, and Emma is very conflicted on how she feels. And it's a book about just kind of shared trauma in the past, also all about love and amazing side characters. This book just had everything. If I could recommend you one book out of this whole video, it would be this one. I loved it so much, and I don't know if a book will top this book for me for this year. I'm pretty sure this will still remain my number 1 even through the end of the year. It's going to take a lot to dethrone it, but man, it was amazing. Then we have A Funny Story by Emily Henry, another favorite author of mine. I've given every one of her books a 5 out of 5. I thoroughly love this one. So this book, we follow a character named Daphne, who is engaged to Peter, and so they have a great relationship. She actually moves to where he lives. I forget where exactly that is. I want to say Michigan or something. And she starts over. And then, you know, the night of his bachelor party, or I should say the day after, he comes home and he's like, hey, you know, I've really thought about it. And, you know, my best friend Petra, who's been my best friend forever, Daphne's like, yeah. He's like, I think I kind of love her. And I think she kind of loves me. So bye. You got to get out of this house. You know, you didn't move states or anything. And Daphne, of course, is very shook because, like, why wouldn't she be? And so she's like, what the hell? And then she runs into Miles, who is Petra's ex, because Petra came home and had the same conversation. She's like, hey, you know Peter, the guy I've been best friends forever? I think I kind of love him. So basically, Daphne and Miles start to live together because they really have no options. They were just left high and dry. And of course, they get closer. I also love this book that Daphne is a children's librarian, and you really get to see her love of that. As a friend, I have a friend that is a children's librarian, and I see her love of that as well. And I just really love this book. It's about starting over, finding yourself, learning about yourself in a brand new town when you move to and you didn't expect to be alone, but here you are. It was a beautiful one. 5 out of 5. My last 5 out of 5 this year so far is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This one's a back release, or it's been released and a lot of people have read it. I haven't, but now I have, and it's a favorite. This book doesn't have a crazy plot. Like, it's not really intricate. It's more about a character dissection. This one follows a character named Tova, who is 70, and she has lost her husband recently. She lost her son when he was 18, and she works at an aquarium at night when everything's locked up, and she does the floors and stuff, and she always says hi to the fish and everything. And then she befriends a giant octopus named Marcellus, and you also get the point of view of Marcellus, because if you don't know, octopus are very, very intelligent creatures. That's why the book is called Bright Remarkable Creatures. And it's all about Tova with dealing with grief, befriending Marcellus, who can escape his tank and things like that, and he'll wrap his like tentacles around Tova, like a greeting and things like that. And it's just so adorable. We have another character named Cameron who comes in the picture, who's always been searching for his dad because his mom left when she was young, and he doesn't really quite know, and it all ties in together so beautifully. And it's just a book about characters and their journey, and I loved every second of it. Like, just, it astounded me with how much I loved it. I thought I was gonna like it, but I loved it, and I should not be surprised. So there you have my favorite books of the year so far. I have 6, I think, one's not here, that I have given a 5 out of 5 to. So I think that's pretty good. If I read 4 more, I'll have a full 10, so I'll feel confident with my favorite books at the end of the year. But right now, I feel pretty happy. I'd say my favorite book of the year so far definitely is Just for the Summer, but all of these will be in my top 10. We'll have to see. I'm hoping the second half of the year, obviously that's already started, it's full of a lot more amazing reads that I love and adore. I would love to know what books, or how many books I should say, you've given a 5 out of 5 to. Please let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.